What's going on, people? Welcome to Mad Red United, a look ahead live with my man Timbo. We will be joined shortly by ex-City Academy captain Terry Dunfield. He's coming on the show to give us the City side of things and the outlook on how the City, the blue half of my town, are seeing this game this weekend. How is everybody? Have you recovered yet? Tim, have you recovered yet, mate?
Frustrating, mate. So frustrating. Like I just... God. I don't even know what to say. Everybody said everything. It's just frustrating. Yeah. I'm done. Move past it now.
Yeah, we got to look ahead, mate. Otherwise, we'll end up digging ourselves a grave after the week, mate. That's what's happening, innit?
That's it.
It was just, oh my God, mate. We've had fallouts within our own close-knit society. We've had, it just sent a lot of United fans completely over the edge, that game at weekend. And we have to look ahead to weekend. Otherwise, like I said, we'd end up doing ourselves harm, I think, mate, thinking back to that. But looking at what we've seen at in the week, and then looking ahead to weekend, doesn't fill me with much confidence, mate. I mean, I don't know how you're seeing this one looking forward. It's a case of we are looking out of shapes, not a lot of ideas going on, and I think every United fan's got a little bit of fear going down right now.
Yeah, for sure. And normally, I mean, you look at some of the performances after haven't done well, and the team has reacted, they responded, but there's always that, the feeling I get from this game, we could go into this game and react and win 2-0, but it also wouldn't surprise me if we just got stuffed 3 or 4-0 with how awful we're defending right now. Like, our defending is just atrocious, and we keep going behind and trying to come back. And we said in the last show that wasn't sustainable, and clearly that caught up to us against Leipzig. And now you worry with City starting to find some form. They've had a bit of a formation change to start the season, and then it kind of got off to a bit of a rocky start, but they've looked like they've done well the last few games. Won again last night. So
let's find out from someone who used to be part of the City setup, captain of City's Academy, no doubt. Terry, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, good. What's up, guys?
Hey, Terry, how are you?
Well, we say we're doing okay, mate, but as soon as we start talking football, it starts to go the wrong way, mate. But that's just the red side of Manchester, mate. But thanks for coming on the show and joining us, Terry, mate. How is things over there, pal? You good?
Yeah, not bad. Trying to get the most out of lockdown life and keep busy.
Yeah.
But plowing through.
That's it, mate. That's it. I mean,
momentous occasion too, by the way, with the 2 Canadians on the show. I just want to throw it out there. It's the first.
Oh yeah, Tim's been dying. Tim's been dying for this moment, I think, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
We've been bombarded with Irish. We've been bombarded with Americans, and now we've got 2 Canadians, full-blooded Canadians, taking over the show.
Whereabouts in Manchester are you?
I'm in Prestwich, just outside Salford. So yeah. Right in the epicenter, you could say.
I lived in the top streets of Cheshire for almost 13 years.
Oh, man, the nice part of town. Very nice part of town. Yes. I don't know if you guys have you seen that program? I don't know if you get it over there. The Housewives of Cheshire. They do not hold us in a very good light. Them girls, I'm telling you right now. It is horrific. My wife watches it constantly as well. It's so annoying. But
I married one, my first wife. I know Phil Bartley's misses a little bit. So.
Oh, Tanya. It's Tanya, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, going back to your days, Terry, I mean, what was it, 15? You started at City's Academy, captain as well, wasn't it? I mean, you must have been playing alongside some pretty decent young players there at City's Academy. Sean Wright Phillips, was it?
Yeah, we actually lived together for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was actually released, funnily enough, by Nottingham Forest, came in on trial and was a little bit raw, but progressed quickly through the top end of the academy, and it was pretty cool to see all the success he's had, and he's been a great ambassador for the club. And I never connected with him when he actually came stateside, but other players, Joey Barden, Paddy McCarthy, Chris Killen, Glenn Whelan, I could go on and on, man. Stephen Jordan.
Yeah, man, a few of them have gone on to have some very illustrious careers. I mean, Sean Mike Phillips is even on the adverts, commercials, as you guys call them right now, with Ian Wright. Making he's everywhere. He's everywhere. And Joey Barton, obviously, Fleetwood manager, doing not too bad himself. Bit of punditry. You do some punditry yourself as well, don't you, Terry, over there?
Yeah, I've been. I kind of combine coaching in the academy at Toronto FC with talking rubbish on TV with Stu. But yeah, it's fun. It's definitely takes a little bit of time learning something new. I remember when I first started, I'm looking at all the different cameras, caked in makeup, and trying to be someone that I wasn't. I was trying to be articulate and British. But I didn't quite pan out. But
yeah, I mean,
say that about Sean Wright Phillips. I remember. Do you remember the Wright show, the Ian Wright show?
Man, that was it's a blast from the past. That.
Yeah. I remember cruising down to watch that with him. That was kind of cool.
Wow, man, that's going right back now. God, you're bringing back some memories. Oh man, I mean, Tim's had his makeup done. His missus did it though. He's looking all right there. Little short stop from work, but yeah, we're not as posh on this channel. But I mean, you've probably. Back in your day, when you was in the academy, Terry, you probably did you play in a lot of Manchester derbies at the sort of youth level with these guys? What was it like at that sort of level? Was it as sort of needly? Was it as sort of bitterish as it is in reality in the big games?
I would say it was a little bit less tactical. The game.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It wasn't really it wasn't really playing between the lines. It was picking up second balls and running quickly to the bus in Moss Side to make sure you got there safely. We had some awesome games at the Cliff. Nice memories of Alex Ferguson looking over, watching us play. The players, I guess, Wes Brown went up against Nick Chadwick, Ronnie Walworth, Greening, those types of players. And up a little bit, but. Yeah, you knew you were all week. You were ready for that derby game.
I bet.
It just shows you've done it even at the youth levels. How important the game is. It's like you can hear when you're talking there. You knew exactly when the fixture was coming, and you knew that preparation was going to be completely different towards it. I mean, looking at the current City team at the moment, Terry. I mean, bit of a rocky start like ourselves, but it does look like. Dare I say it, and I do say that with fear in my voice, but City's starting to turn the corner now with a few injuries coming back. What do you reckon to City's season so far?
It's tough to judge. It's just a crazy year with COVID, interesting pre-seasons. I think
you
have to look at each player individually. I think it affects everyone in different kinds of ways. And I think, to your point, we're starting to find a little bit of rhythm. I think what's tough too is everyone kind of now knows the way Man City play and our style of play and the ways of stopping it. And if our energy levels aren't high and we're not playing through that press quickly, that leads to problems. But I'd say players in short are coming into form and we're finding a nice rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, we try not to speak about City too much, mate, because obviously, it is a United channel, but we don't we're happy, I think. I mean, Tim, can you remember the last time that we actually went into a derby ahead of City in the table? Because that's where we are right now, but I can't remember the last time that we was ahead of them in the table before a derby.
No, I can't.
We're going back, aren't we?
Very much been the noisy neighbors the last few years, for sure. I can't remember. You almost wonder, like I was saying before you came on, Terry, is, point, like obviously United did well against City last year. They've got this sort of habit of when Solskjaer needs a result that they're able to dig something out and pull something out of the fire for him to keep them. Do you think, I mean, if you're a United team right now, is this the right time? Is this the time that you think, this is time maybe we can get back on track against City? Or like what would you, if you were United, looking at from United standpoint coming into this game, how would you be looking at it?
It's a tricky one. I don't know what you think, guys, but the word team is an important word when you talk about Man United. And I think when I watch them play, that there's a lot of agendas, there's a lot of individuals, and guys fighting for places in their team, guys fighting what's being said in the media, and I think you've got guys at times just operating in silos, and then when it doesn't go well, you got guys that kind of are doing their own thing. And I think when everything clicks, and maybe you don't choose the best players, but you pick the best team, I think that you get results. But it's difficult. How do you leave a World Cup winner out of the team? And with all due respect to McTominay, if I'm Paul Pogba and I'm seeing this guy, and it's like that's a difficult dynamic, and it's one that just isn't really going away at the moment. It's just kind of festering.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel says it there. What the hell is going on with Pogba? I mean, I was.
Channel, by the way, this is awesome.
Yeah, you get loads of interaction on here. You've got.
Adam, do you mind if I just? I'm curious. I have a question about Pogba. Do you mind, real quick, if I?
You shoot. Well, we're on the subject, mate. So fire away, mate. Go for it.
Just curious, Terry. Obviously, the last few days we've seen Raiola come out with his comments, and you know you question the timeliness of those comments being made, and is Pogba behind it, and all these sort of issues that have happened leading up to United's Champions League game Wednesday night. Just as a former player, you know, how would you feel about that as a former player? What kind of impact do you think? Like, are you able to compartmentalize that and keep it out of the camp, or would that have crept in? And do you think that sort of plays a role?
It's a tricky one. I think young players now, you can't tell them what to do. I think that there's a lot of strong personalities, and somehow Solskjaer has to light a fire under Paul Pogba, and I think he's tried to be like, look, go out and produce for us, and that'll help you get your move. And I think it's instant, but in the long run, it's not been quite enough. And I think he gets away with stuff that I'd be frustrated if I'm in that changing room. And I don't want to dwell on it, but I think that's a big problem right now. And when you talk about that box-to-box player, that player to kind of link attack, he's that guy.
Exactly.
But you just can't trust him right now, and I think that's why he's playing on the left wing.
Yeah, I mean, where was it you actually played? What position was you playing in, Terry?
I was, I guess, like a 10. That's as I got more and more injuries and slower, just kind of creeped right back to kind of Fernandinho style.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, City obviously have some operators in that position, and I think that's where City's strength is. Super chat here. Cheers very much, Sandro Rodriguez. The amount of goals we concede from a far post is a joke. Positioning, non-existent. City will clearly exploit that. Where's the coaching? Oh, defensively, I mean, that takes us straight back into the midweek game, Tim, when we were just talking off air that at the second goal that Leipzig scored, United had 7 defenders in the box. To Leipzig's 4, and there was a guy in acres of space at the back post. I mean, was it a mistake to switch defensively and to go with the back 5/back 3 in such a massive game like that? Because at the start, it didn't look like they knew what position they were supposed to be in. It looked like it was a case of there's too many chefs in the kitchen. He's there, so maybe I don't have to be there. Case in point, Luke Shaw. Not.
Yeah. It's
playing to that standard, mate. We're going to be in trouble.
It's a tricky one because I didn't mind the formation change per se, but the selection. I mean, you look at Shaw was out for a good 4 to 5 weeks, so now you're bringing a player into a massive game as the third center back in a formation that they don't. Generally, they line up in a 4-2-3-1. So now you're switching it and dumping him in there. And you and I, we've talked about it. Is with Wan-Bissaka is I don't think his positioning is good enough to play as a wing back. He just seems to come too narrow at times. We saw that against Brighton, like we were touching on, where he would just come so narrow at the back post and they would just get in behind him. And there's just something, I mean, with Wan-Bissaka in particular, it just seems like I was saying before he came on Airmate, is if he needs to make a recovery and make a tackle, great. He's good but with people getting behind him, he's just he doesn't understand. Like, he doesn't know what to do. He just seems positionally sometimes. He just seems, if people are in the channel, he gets so confused. I don't know. It's a wonky one, but I don't have a problem with the change per se, but I don't know.
I mean, did you see the game, Terry, for United in the week? I mean, like Tim said there, I was expecting something similar to PSG, which it was formation-wise. But like Tim said, for Luke Shaw to come back from such a long time out, come straight back into that back three, was he ready? And all in all, it just looked like it was overly defensive to all United fans. I don't know how it looked from the outside, mate, but for us, we were all concerned at the start that we were just playing into Leipzig's hands.
Yeah. So guys, if you're in a changing room and all of a sudden the coach, I guess they use computers now, but lifts up the team and you have the shackles on, you're defending, that line hasn't played a whole bunch together. Yeah. Is your chest out? Are you ready to go out and compete against a team that's going to give stuff up when they go forward? Yeah. Not really. It's almost like, okay, fine, let's get through it. And I think that mindset crept out onto the field. And to Tim's point, I thought that was really good. I think a lot of the Man United backline kind of defend as individuals a little bit and can be drawn to the ball. Yeah. And eventually, I mean, you are going to give something up. And, unfortunately, maybe that's exposed in the second or third phase, maybe.
Yeah, Ronald, I've seen your comment coming up there. We'll get into that stuff towards the end of the video, mate, so don't think it's gone unnoticed, mate. But there is some comparison questions coming as well. So, yeah, we'll get into that before we finish up. But looking ahead, from a City point of view, Terry, two T's. Oh, that's a nightmare for me. I've only just realised it. I do this all the time. So, I mean, Terry, Aguero back in the week. I tell you now, overall, Pep's teams, everything that City have been successful with over the last decade, you could say, Aguero was the one player that I feared. I didn't really fear. I could see the quality in City's team, but this guy, he knows where the back of the net is, and he is what I think City have been missing, and especially missed last season with his injuries. I don't think Pep's going to start him, but in terms of Aguero, a lot of people have said that they've sort of lost their spine in the likes of Company, Fernandinho weaning off, David Silva going, Aguero sort of coming to the end. Is this going to be City's biggest challenge now, replacing that sort of stability, that spine of the team? Because this is ultimately what happened to United back in the day. We lost too many all at once, and I think we struggled to... I think Terry's just gone for the answer there. It was under his table. But yeah. But I mean, is this City's biggest challenge going forward now, especially when it comes to the likes of trying to challenge Liverpool again?
I think Aguero's just so different to any number 9 in the world that he's not fussed about getting involved in the build. He knows that Man City have so many technicians in there, and the higher he stays up the pitch, the more room he gives his teammates, and I guess his chemistry between each player is so good that in a split second he's on the end of so many different types of balls, and it's almost like when the ball comes to him in the box, time slows down, and you're just like, goal. You know it's going to be a goal. He's just got such an array of finishes, and I think that playing with a player like that just gives you a ton of confidence, and he just does it in a little bit sexier fashion than maybe Sean Goater did.
Sean Goater.
Oh, now he's
I love the Sean Goater reference.
Oh, that sends shivers down my spine. I can still see Bartes on the floor and Gary Neville's head in his hands at Main Road. That just gives me the ultimate nightmares. Any United fan knows.
Going into that game, I tell you, I remember.
Oh, man, you know what was even more horrible about that game was the fact that Schmeichel was in goal for City. Neville was captain and he was dropping clangers left, right and centre. I think we even had Laurent Blanc playing for us and Anelka was playing, and he just absolutely skinned him alive. It was such a mismatch. I was just like, probably one of the worst days I can remember back in the Fergie era. That day when it's like, oh no, here we go.
Surprised us. It was even sunny, I remember that day.
It was early kickoff as well. Could not believe it. But I mean, Tim, mate, there's a few people in the comments there. Obviously, I bring up Aguero coming back. City's forward line against our defence. Our defence is our ultimate fear. City look like they've got their sort of back on track, dare I say.
Yep.
The signing of Diaz, obviously Laporte being back is massive. Even Mendy coming back now. Even Mendy coming back is another plus. Kyle Walker's had a good start to the season. Complete contrast to our back line, mate.
Jesus, leading the line,
So you look at City's forward line. A lot of people said they are going to target certain players. I mean, which one of our defenders, mate? Could be any one of them, the way they're playing at the moment. But is that the ultimate worry for us right now? Because we can compete, we can challenge if we can get to our forwards, but if City are dominating the ball and we can't get our forwards in the game, does that sort of... That's what I fear the most, I suppose I'm saying, that their forward line are going to be way too much for our defence.
Yeah, for sure. It's a worry. And, City, a bit of a formation change themselves coming into the season. They've gone to the 4-2-3-1. And, Kyle Walker, you touched on him and Mendy, too, the job that they're doing. So you worry that, they're going to, as they get forward, we're going to get stretched. It's going to pull Maguire and Lindelof out of position. And Terry touched on, with the technicians that they have to operate in that space and link up with it, whoever it is, if Aguero does come on at some point, or I think it's Jesus who's been starting there as the number 9, I think, for them up top, then you're going to run into difficulties. So, and that's why it's really concerning with the amount of goals that we're shipping right now, because you can get away with going down 2-0 to some of these teams, but the second that a City team in their pomp and starting to find some form is a massive concern in front of what is a dodgy back line for us at the moment.
I mean, Terry, playing the better teams used to be our bailout last season. We'd had some really poor performances against so-called lower league teams, and then as soon as it came to the bigger teams, we used to just pull it out, especially when it came to City. It's like all he had one over on Pep. I've got a feeling as a United fan, a lot of fans do feel it as well, that it's not going to carry on that way. He obviously can't. Pep will figure it out somewhere along the line. But going into this one, I mean, can you see it as everyone is seeing it? United sitting back, counter-attacking, City dominating the ball, and it is all going to come down to that midfield, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think that would be my worry if I'm a Man United supporter. I like the comment about chasing shadows.
Yeah.
And I just think the way Man United are kind of lined up, I'd be worried that their front unit can put a whole bunch of pressure on Manchester City, and then what that leads to, I'm telling you guys what is just wave after wave of attack. And I'm not sure Man United's back line can absorb that. Having said that, I think Man United are a threat in transition, but if Man City score first and heads drop even further, it could turn to 3 or 4 quite quickly. So I think I'd like to see a proactive team. I'd like to see a front three that are going to chase, maybe go to a single holder and really get after Manchester City and almost go, a little bit old school.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, you mentioned it before when you was playing, Terry, that you had that sort of pride with Sir Alex looking over on the cliff watching the youth players play. I mean, United have got in their coaching staff there 3 players from different eras, all played under Ferguson, knew exactly what it was, how he worked and what it took to be a winner. Is it strange to you that the likes of Phelan, Carrick, Solskjaer himself can't get this mentality across to the current crop of United players? Because you just said it then, if City score, and it's clearly obvious then, because heads do sort of drop in this United team very quickly when the going gets tough. I just found it strange that the characters we've got in the changing room, whether they are the best coaches, tacticians, whatever you might say in the world, but still, they do know what it takes to win and win as United players. They've seen the rough times in Phelan. He's battled through. Carrick's seen all the best. Solskjaer, they've seen what it takes to win. It just seems like we can't seem to get a message across to these players. Is that a surprise to you?
I like that. The Carrick's in the changing room.
You could change that to another midfielder, and it may be a different ball game, mate. I tell you.
I think when adversity comes, you look for leaders, don't you? And I looked at that Man United team sheet, and I'm not sure who's the guy that is going to kind of galvanize the group. And I think it's tricky too, because Gen Z kids, as we said at the start, you can't really tell them what to do. I think you've got so many big personalities that it's really difficult to kind of bring everybody together. And I think as soon as that kind of adversity hits, I think the cracks in the club, shall I say, are exposed. And it's sad because I think that was one of the foundations of Manchester United. When I think of Manchester United, I think of a team that competes, that fights for everything. And there's almost a brotherhood throughout this club. And Man United also is like a little bit like the Willy Wonka factory. You don't really know what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but one thing you do know, or did know, is that there's this strong Manchester United will, and maybe don't see that so much.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I don't think we will be seeing, Tim, is an Amazon program on United. I don't think the Glazers would want anything going on behind the scenes on TV like Spurs and City did. But are you seeing straight away there what two serial winning managers were like in the changing rooms? And you know what? Jose still gets his critics from a lot of United fans, but you know what? There's a lot of United fans looking back on that comment that his best achievement was getting this team to second. That has to be down to a mentality sort of level. That he can't be looking at that any other way, mate, because it just seems like no matter who comes through the door, it's the same story every single time. And like you said, mate, Tim was touching on it there. Terry, sorry, was touching on it there. It used to be like a brotherhood. I've never heard it put like that, but he's dead right in the way he says it, because when the chips were down,
fought for each other.
Everyone came out fighting, mate. It just, like you said, leadership, there seems to be none in that team right now. You could say Bruno in the way he plays, but you can just see it from the way Bruno is, and that's what we want to see. And then the reaction from the other players. It's Bruno's the right type of player, but is he too much for these type of players? Are they a little bit soft?
Well, it's certainly, I mean, if some of the reports and some of the actions you've seen from Bruno on the pitch, I mean, he certainly has that type of mentality and character, and he backs, the biggest thing is he backs it up. He backs it up with his performances. And Terry talked about it really, like, you point maybe to Bruno, but outside of that, there's nobody else on the pitch who will galvanize this unit. And the other thing is, like, when you have somebody like Harry Maguire who has had the type of season that he has, and the amount of individual mistakes that we're seeing from some of these players this season, I'd be curious, I guess, to see from Terry's perspective as a former player. But when someone's speaking up on the pitch, if they're continuously making the same mistakes, it might be tough to listen to them and to take them seriously. So it's a lack of leadership for sure. I mean, we've said it numerous times on this show, that there's just nobody to take the game by the scruff of the neck and drag you back into it.
It's tough though, and when you're struggling yourself.
Yeah, true.
To find that voice and to communicate, right?
Yeah,
100%.
One thing that's kind of interesting, you're saying about Mourinho and Tottenham. To be honest, at the start of the year when he took over, or whenever it was, I didn't like the fit. I thought it'd be 12 months and he'd be out. But I think he surprised a few, and a big part of it, I think, was that kind of moment where they were teetering and it wasn't going right. And rather than kind of changing the way he plays, he stuck with his identity. And this is how we're going to play. These are the types of players I need to get in to be successful. And he almost weathered that storm, and is paying dividends now, where, again, it's a small sample size, but if you look at that Leipzig performance, all he was chasing a result rather than continue to build on that Manchester United identity and how he sees this team moving forward.
That's it. I mean, talking of Bruno, I mean, Terry, every United fan loves him. I think he's the one player that we see a lot of the pundits talking and raving about. I mean, what have you reckoned to Bruno? A lot of people have gone as far as to say that he's pretty much the one reason why Ollie still has a job. So, I mean, you could say that's harsh, but when you break down what he has done to this team and what he has contributed over not even a year yet, nearly a year now, he's been amazing for us. How's it looking for Bruno from the outside, from sort of your side of things?
Let me give you a little story. So,
I like stories. Tim loves a story.
Remember a player, Conclatsi? City, Giorgio Conclatsi.
Oh, mate, he was one of my favourite City players. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So this guy had so much quality. It was awesome training with him every week. You knew which way it was going to go, and you still couldn't stop him. He needed his own ball. To be honest, it was a night. It was fun to train with because he was so good, but you never wanted him on your team because at times you were playing a man down, and we didn't really have the support cast around him to be super successful. And where I'm going with that is Bruno Fernandes. He is a top operator. He would walk into almost every team in the world. But are Manchester United ready for a player like him? Is there enough trust in the other line that you can have such a difference maker in your team that doesn't defend a whole bunch?
I mean,
that's my question I'd ask.
That's the point.
Can you handle this Maverick right now?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people would.
I never thought of it. That's a very good point. I never
and
thought
eventually,
of that point of view.
you know what happens is this Maverick starts throwing his hands in the air and gets frustrated. And
well, Terry, I mean, one of the things I've touched on with Bruno and we've seen is, and you talked about Pogba being able to link the attack, and we've seen games where Bruno has actually dropped to a deeper position to collect the ball in deeper areas, and sort of try to orchestrate from there. And it kind of ties into what you're just talking about. Is
disciplined,
yeah, like, you know, are his teammates looking at that like, hang on a second, like, you're deploy yourself higher up the pitch. You know, we want you to be as close to our attackers as possible. Whereas Bruno is maybe of the mindset like, you know, do I need to drop back and it's clear this isn't working. I need to take matters into my own hands. It's that type of what you were just mentioning, I find.
Yeah, definitely agree with that, mate. Because, like you said, like Terry said there, are we ready for a player like Bruno? Is Ole ready for a player like Bruno? Because he tried to rest him against West Ham, and we completely capitulated creativity-wise. Yeah. And I just don't think Ole's right now. I just don't think he's capable of finding the balance in this team, because we know we've got some good players, but the balance is completely off. He tries to go too defensive and it backfires. People moan when we try and go too attacking because we're then leaving gaps in midfield. And he doesn't seem to be able to discipline certain players. I like Bruno, who seems to go wandering, like Terry says there. It's like you don't want that player on your team in training because you never know where he's going to be. His positional sense, you know where he's setting up, but in times like Tim said, he's dropping deep, he's out on the wing. Has he got a free role? We don't know, but then he is part of a midfield as well, so he's leaving his role to someone else in the middle. And I mean, where are you at, Terry, with Ole in all of this? It's 2 years now. It doesn't look like we've progressed in terms of a style of play. We don't seem to have any sort of patterns of playing games. And the biggest thing that comes out of United fans from games we've actually won is it's all solely reliant on players like Bruno showing a bit of individual brilliance, or maybe a Rashford, a Martial, one of our creative players saving us at the end of the day, like Cavani did against Southampton, Bruno and Rashford against West Ham. It just seems like it is a complete bailout. I mean, is that fair, really, would you say?
I don't think I don't think Ole's enjoying it, first and foremost. Like I just think he's just it just is getting battered every week, and it's I almost feel for him a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the board trusts him. I think he's working probably as well as any manager with senior management to kind of get through this transition period. So I think that relationship's strong. I agree with you. I don't necessarily see a consistent identity. I get there'll be nuances at times depending on opposition, but I haven't seen kind of where this is all leading to, I guess, and it's tough. He does have a lopsided squad right now, but I just and it's hard for him. It's really tough, and I think you almost need like a hatchet man or a fall guy to kind of get you through the transition period to set you up for the guys who's going to build. And I think right now, all he's got two jobs: to get you through this period and then also to build. And it's difficult to do two jobs at once.
Yeah, I mean, Ronald, cheers, Ronald, mate. There is no balance in the team because of the bad defence. Ollie plays 2 CDMs to cover them. It's not Ollie's fault, but players too, and the board. Yeah, we all know there's a whole combined issue at this football club at the moment. But does it, I mean, Tim, has it come down to just playing to your strength at the end of the day? Because time, if you look at the way managers and how long managers last, especially at the top clubs these days, if they're not doing as well as expected, is there a time where Ollie's just going to have to go, maybe this board isn't going to give me another defender? I've spent nearly 200 million on defence alone so far. So, I mean, is it a case of, right, let's just play to our strengths right now? It's got to come to that stage sooner or later, because he can't afford another performance like he did against Leipzig. He really can't. Even Bajak's here, probably even worse, mate. Defensively, absolutely appalling. But if you've got the ball and if you're dominating a game and you're not sitting back, then surely you've got a better chance.
Well, I think first of all, just in regards to the relying on his big players, like there's not a manager in the world that doesn't rely on their big players to make plays for them during games.
You would not be talking about Pep Guardiola and Lionel Messi, would you there, Timothy? Not a chance.
I mean, all managers call on their big players. You know, at the end of the day, I think Terry kind of touched on it. Is he's got these two jobs, and I've said before, in order to get that long-term vision, he's got to get through the storm and get those short-term results, because football is way more fickle these days than it was back when Fergie was around. And you're not,
Tim, didn't you do that at the start, and that's how we got the job?
True to an extent, but I think also that, you know, football is so fickle, and it's a lot of the noise probably comes from the fans. Do you think? I mean, I think there's maybe a bit of an argument. Like, would you say that they rushed into giving him the job? Like, maybe part of it is on the board that they should have maybe at least waited to the end of the season and instead of giving it to him right after the PSG game. But
this is Woodward, isn't it, mate? Because I know. I mean, I listen. I don't know if you get a chance to listen to Talk Sport, Terry, over there. Or Jim White was at that Cardiff game. Jim White, Sky Sports presenter, a Talk Sport presenter. Everyone knows who Jim White is. He was at the Cardiff game, Ollie's first game. We all remember it. We thought, oh, wow, 5-0. Just happy to see some goals going in. But he was talking to Woodward and he said, look, no decision will be made until the end of the season. We will not be pressured. We will not make a knee-jerk decision going off any results. Lo and behold, before the season ends, Ollie's got a full-time job. And then it starts to go downhill. So, I mean, we're looking at United's board and the setup. They are, and I know they are part to blame for all of this. But we've looked at a manager come in, gets a bit of money in his first season, Terry, and then it's happened every single time. They've all started moaning about not getting who they wanted in. Van Gaal was the first one. Or you could even say David Moyes, but I think it was just too much for David Moyes in the first place anyway. Van Gaal, big signings first season, then it weaned off, didn't get who he wanted. Mourinho got us into the Champions League, didn't get the signings he wanted the next season after that. Ole, same way again. A lot of what goes on above the manager has been talked about at United, obviously, mate. And is it a case of no manager coming in to this setup will be able to do what United need, Terry, from your look on it?
I think always, not just his performance at the tail end of the season, but I'd say his CV was probably a good fit. I think, was it Mold he was at before?
Yeah, Molde.
And he was very successful there, sort of cut his teeth there, revamped an aging squad, got results, kind of had a mixed bag there, a little bit similar to what he was walking into at Man United. I thought his personality was good. He's kind of even keeled. But I just think it's just such a big job, and to this point, I don't think a manager can fix it. I think you just need a team, and that vision, that identity, regardless of what us dickheads are saying or the media or whatever, have to stay true to that vision and that identity. And going back to the point about Mourinho, when it got tough at Tottenham, they kept buying players to fit that style of play of being able to absorb pressure and counter, and you kept seeing pieces come in that were perfect for it. He knew he couldn't lose Son, and right now at Manchester United, I don't know if the club's moving forward quickly enough for the fan base, and there's a little bit of flip flopping.
Yeah, that's it. It's going on a decade now without anywhere near a title. So I think people are getting a bit, the nerves are creeping in that this could be another Liverpool sort of scenario, definitely.
Do you think he'll get that time, Terry, though? Do you think that he'll get, like you talked about, weathering the storm and getting through it? I mean, with what we know about modern football and like you touched on it there, the flip-flopping and the fickleness of the business now with, do you think that the Glazers and Woodward have finally, from the outside looking in, I know obviously none of us are in there, but appear to have turned a corner and will give Solskjaer the time that he needs? I mean, we've seen them buy up numerous young players from around the world over the last couple of years. They're clearly going down this path of, looking more towards developing from within their academy and promoting players. That seems to be the vision. Do you think he gets the time to see that vision through?
I think he has been given the time. I think he's been beaten up pretty good. And I think a bad run of results could see him off. Having said all that, I believe that the Manchester United board feel he's the guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was very nice there.
Just to touch on that there, just to lighten the mood, you get some crazy comments on these shows. We've had a few comparisons already. Obviously, everyone's well known that everyone compares me to Nemanja Matic, but we've got one for Tim and one for Terry that's come up in the comments.
There we go, player comparison.
Terry, someone has likened you to Sebastian Schweinsteiger in your looks. So, I mean, that's not a bad one.
It's not a bad one. World Cup winner, I'd take that.
Tim, yours is horrendous, mate. Are you ready for it? Yours is Joel Glazer with a wig.
Come on, man. That is just absolutely harsh.
And that was, I can't even say his name, Ronan Mackenstauer. I can't even say the name. Sorry about that guy.
But he's barred. Get him out of the chat.
He wants him blocked. He wants him blocked. So before we finish up, I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with it. We're going to do a combined 11. Well, right now, combined 11. Man, if you'd have said this one a few weeks ago, it may have been a different story, but we'll just come together with a combined United and City 11 just to finish up. A little bit of fun before we finish, before it gets all serious the next 2 days, especially here in Manchester anyway. But
Adam, give me a sec at the end. I'll tell you a cool story about my first derby I went to at Main Road.
Oh, definitely, yeah, we'll do that one, mate.
This will be a good one, yeah.
We'll do that one. We'll get that in. So let's just go through a quick team then. Normally, the goalkeeper would have been a no-brainer, but Tim, I'll come to you first, mate. I mean, I've lost all confidence in De Gea. We've not seen enough of Henderson, so I would have to go with Edison. I can't believe I'm saying it, but
I think I'm gonna still stick by De Gea in this one, mate. I'm gonna go with De Gea.
Good loyalty.
Stick
Yeah.
by him.
Oh, Terry's laughing at you there, Tim. That's not a good sign. Oh, you'd be no good as a manager,
some
Tim.
United players in the team because it's not going to go well across that back line. So
Imagine Ederson passing the ball to Rashford in depth.
Oh, man.
good, fair point.
Yeah, I think. Would you go
I think
Edison, Terry, as well?
Yeah, the net's looking pretty big on De Gea. He looks a little bit scared of the ball, sorry. But
Yeah.
Yeah. As Andrew Massey said there's a good comparison for you. I mean, he does look like Jaws from James Bond, doesn't he? He's an absolute monster of a goalkeeper. And probably the best passing goalkeeper I've seen in the league for a long time. I'll give him that. His range of passing
is amazing. Yeah.
excellent. I've not seen anything like it. But, alright. Oh, here we go. Tim, you called it, mate, so you can start it off. Left back.
Well, I think you're going to go, obviously, with Mendy for me. I think with Mendy on the left. I haven't seen enough of Tellez. Shaw's not going to be fit.
This is it, isn't it? Yeah. Realistically, it has to be, doesn't it?
Tellez has had a couple of good games, but then he had a shocker there. Forget what game it was before the storm, but well, not a shocker, but you know,
I like that word.
not the great,
Yeah.
not the greatest, game for him. I just haven't seen enough of him. Whereas I think that Mendy and Kyle Walker have been terrific.
Let me know in the comments as well, people. Get your comments up on who you think. It's been quite a mix. Williams, Shaw. Some people going straight in. Rachel's going Henderson in goal. Just going straight forward. Henderson for Thomas as well. Straight in there. Centre backs. Oh my God, I think this is probably the easiest one right now, isn't it?
Zinchenko will play.
Yeah,
You reckon?
A little bit of respect to Man United on the counter and help City build.
Do you think Pep Guardiola's forgiven his wife now for the comments on the wedding speech?
What happened? I don't know.
Oh, he said. Did you not hear that one? On Zinchenko's wedding day, his wife made a speech slagging off Pep Guardiola's tactics about dropping him, and it went viral. So we didn't see Zinchenko for a while.
I take that back then.
Yeah, good pass. So
I think that's a good shout though, Terry.
Yeah,
I think you might be right on that one.
we'll see. He likes to play clever.
They play
David Lloyd's going with Laporte and Maguire. Ooh, that is a shout for centre backs. Laporte, I can see he's not really showing many frailties at the moment. Whereas Maguire, ooh, I mean, definitely at fault with De Gea for that last goal on Tuesday. Sorry, but I mean, Terry, your centre back pairings there. Would you look past the two City lads, considering how everyone is playing right now?
No, I think Diaz and Laporte. I like that Stones is kind of giving them a kick up their ass. I think he's matured a little bit. I'm worried for Harry Maguire that he's playing a little bit rash, almost with a point to prove, and his actions aren't implicit, and he's just trying to do a little bit too much, and he's giving up space. It'd be tough to
Alien's got it there. Jones and Smalling.
Might have to get Jones. Can someone find him? We might have to find him on a milk carton.
Oh, God. I don't know. I think, so Laporte and Diaz, a few people are going Laporte, Diaz. Hard to argue against it, especially after our performance in the week.
Yeah.
My God. Right back, you've got Walker. You've got Bizaka. Walker's had a good start. In this game, though, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go Bizaka because he always has a good game against Sterling. You know what? He always has Sterling in his back pocket. Touch wood somewhere quickly. I don't curse that right now, but I've got to put Bizaka in. I know he wasn't great, but he doesn't play well in a back five for me. I think when he's on a flat four, he's better, and he's doing a lot of defending in this game rather than having the emphasis of having to go forward. So I think Bizaka slots in there for me because he is going to be defending more, which ultimately is his best attribute. So I don't know about you guys. What are you thinking?
I would have gone Kyle Walker, to be honest with you. I think he's been terrific this season.
He's had a good start. I mean, Terry, would you go Walker?
Yeah, I think Pep likes to kind of unbalance his two sides. So you kind of got Walker going like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think he's important. Bernardo Silva. Having said that, he definitely has a bone scare moment in him.
Oh man, right, here we go. Probably the one area where we've got a little bit of bite as United fans. So what formation do you want to play? Do you want to go 4-3-3, 4-4-2?
Let's go 4-2-3-1 because that's what both teams are.
Yeah, Tim's getting all tactical. Okay, holding midfield. You could put Fred in there, couldn't you? Fred has been playing well.
Fred and Rodri?
Fred and Rodri? I'm not a Rodri fan, to be honest. I haven't seen too much of him, though, to be fair, this season. In terms of the games I've watched, anyway. But, I mean, Terry, Fred, Rodri maybe?
I think what's interesting is Gundogan's kind of the player that brings everything together for Manchester City. And there's a doubt over injury. I think that's an important one. He's fit. He's so important, almost an unsung hero in the middle of the field.
I think that's what a lot of United fans would hope Ollie would do with Van der Beek in a way.
Yeah.
Play him alongside another defensive player. I think that would be very, very similar because he could run the show, but we've not seen it so far.
He's pretty motivated too. I'm not a huge fan of Rodri. I think Fernandinho will play, just again to respect Man United on the counter.
Yeah.
So Tim has killed this with his formation because the best two players at each club are now fighting for one position, which would be the ultimate. And this brings in the question from earlier on from one of the comments. It's Kevin De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes in that number 10.
There's only one answer. Obviously, it's Bruno. There's only one answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very biased, but I just look at. I think City would probably just about survive without Kevin De Bruyne. United, I think, would crumble without Bruno. Yeah. So thinking of importance factor, I think Bruno just edges it for me. I am not in any way, shape or form forgetting how good Kevin De Bruyne is.
Yeah,
he's still ridiculously awesome.
We know which way Terry's going, obviously. So.
Yeah, and you can't argue with it. You can't argue with it. But there's two United fans on here, and we win. So, sorry, Terry. We're just gonna have to go with that one. Front three. Now then, this one. I mean, Sterling's been off a little bit. Is Jesus got enough? Would you even bring? Oh, then you've got Aguero fit as well. Oh my.
Sterling, Aguero, and Rashford for me.
Ooh.
Rashford on the left
right now.
What's that?
This is what Solskjaer's doing right now.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Do I play Dan James this week? I got no.
Oh God! You know what? That's a shout. You know, I would not be surprised if Dan James turned up against City.
Well, really wouldn't. It's going to happen because you know he's going to want to counter them like he did.
That's what I think, man.
He's got the pace.
You know, every stars don't like to be hurried, shoot around, mithered.
Yeah.
If I'm Man United, I set up like that. And I don't think a whole bunch to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
Martial then for you, Tim, if he was fit.
No, not over Aguero, mate. Not a chance.
No.
In the number 9.
Cavani, if he's fit.
No. Aguero,
it's just
with what he's done in the league. He knows the league. He's just.
I think Martial. I think he'd do better at Manchester City in a wide area. I think he'd do.
I agree.
He's. I think players like Pogba and Martial they're like icings on a very well formed cake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, United haven't got the foundation. They haven't got the ingredients right to house kind of what Terry was saying in terms of the Bruno factor. Can they handle this player right now? Our sort of foundation isn't strong enough behind for us to take on this sort of calibre of player.
Yeah,
I just feel like this is sort of where Martial is. He's had a few managers now. They've chopped and changed. He's been made second fiddle to ultimately better strikers, you could say, in the likes of Zlatan, Cavani, out and out number 9s. Whereas Martial, he's mixed between that 9 and wing, whereas the other two are out and out 9s. You could even say Lukaku can be rolled into that. There's a lot of United players there at the moment. Right players, wrong time. That's the way I look at it. There's a few of them there right now, and it's like, can only get them in? Can he get them in? But anyway, have we decided on that front three then? Is that it? Have I just been completely overruled on my own show? Yeah, Tim?
That's mine, unless someone else has.
I can't really. I mean, to be honest, it is a deadly front line. That I'll be fair. Rashford, Aguero, and Sterling. Ooh, the only reason Aguero won't be in is because he's only played about an hour this season. Of what I think, but and you know what?
I don't care if he's played 2 minutes this season. Get him in.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably about right, isn't it? When you look at it. Because our players just aren't in good enough form. Really not.
No.
Spa 987. No, Igalo does not get into that team, mate. So behave. No, that's not happening. Like we said before, we're going to get going. We're just going to hear Terry's Derby Day story. He's just going to finish us off beforehand. So the floor is yours, Terry. What happened?
Have you been to Main Road before?
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't been there, but obviously it was
Horrible.
Yeah, it was. I'll mind your car for £1. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Man, what was it? What's your motor, mister? That was it, yeah. Kids on the streets. Yeah, what's your car for you, mister? Yeah. Okay, you give them whatever they asked, otherwise you'd come back with no tyres and mirrors on it.
When my family came over from Vancouver, we never experienced that before. That was new. So after a short trial, or I guess a trial for a little bit, it was kind of cool back in those days. Academy players or youth team players would be signed on the field. Mm-hmm. And my mom and younger brother were over, and we'd never actually been to a game in England before. And the first game that we were going to go to was the game I was signing, and it was against Manchester United. So I had no clue really what we were in for.
Right.
And, so we train at Flat Lane, come over, and now all of a sudden you're seeing the stadium, all the horses, it was nuts. And we're also like scampering there quickly through a sea of blue, and it's just like those little alleyways that you would walk through. It was just so it was so cool almost. So anyway, we get into the chairman seats, and we're in the main stand, and we're sat actually beside Francis Lee, which was kind of cool.
Franny Lee,
nice.
To watch the game, but the boxes weren't really cordoned off. They were kind of just a little bit nicer seats, kind of in the main stand.
Yeah.
And so the game kicks off, and this Man United team was stacked. Yeah, Ryan Giggs and Eric Cantona was like, this team was so good. And Mark Hughes might have been playing. Anyway, so cool. So 6 minutes into the game, the stadium had been going nuts. And finally, Manchester United get a corner kick at the far end by the Man City family stand.
Yeah.
It's kind of looking over there. And the stadium, for the first time, everyone kind of sits down. And I'll never forget this. 2 rows in front of us, there's this guy in a trench coat. His trench coat, has a Man United kit on, and goes like this, United, to like 2,000 Man United fans behind the opposite City goal. Like, holy shit, like this is nuts. Next minute, boom, like Francis Lee's hitting him. People are headbutting this guy. There's blood. My mom bought a brand new white coat from John Lewis for like to signing day. I've got blood on my shirt that I'm going to on at halftime. And my mom's leaving me in gigs to be one of these, like, live in this environment. Mom's never going to leave me now. Anyway, like the stewards are giving this Man United fan on the way out. Next minute, as he's going down the stairs to like the tunnel to go out, you just see this guy's hand go like that up in the air. And the Man United fans went wild behind the net. This guy's nose is over here. I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. And I guess this guy, drank for free that night or whatever.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, junk out of a straw, more like.
It's the fighting spirit, not just on the pitch, but in the stands.
It is. I mean, it's still there in a weird way when we go. I mean, every time I go to the Etihad now, you can see it. They obviously leave the United fans in at the end of the game, and the City fans just don't leave. They're just throwing pelters at us either side.
Really?
And the hatred is so real for it. It is. They despise us. We just go in there and wind them up, I think. That's what we do. And then they bite every time.
Yeah.
Oh, they bite every single time. They hate it. But recently we've had a really good record there, so it's been really easy to wind them up. But yeah, it's I know exactly where you're at. Well, back at Main Road days, man, that stadium was just not put together well in terms of how it was set up anyway, security wise and everything. But oh man, it was that was an epic story. That I can see that totally happening as well. I can picture it. I can just picture it happening now. But right, guys, that's it.
Stories you don't get over here from Terry, so it's just good
no, that's it.
Look at
That's exactly it.
One soccer.
Guys, we are done for the look ahead towards the City game. Just wanted to thank Tim for coming on and bringing Terry. It's been a pleasure having you on, mate. I've loved the stories and your input, pal. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Terry. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers. Everyone in the comments, all the super chats, everyone, thank you for tuning in and watching us. Don't forget, I will be back watching the game on Saturday night. Mrs. is probably going to end up killing me because I need to be at the stadium. Like Terry says there, us fans, the hardcore ones, don't belong in houses watching TVs. It's just not us, but it's all we've got right now. So do join me for that one on Saturday. That should be a crazy one. Let's hope it's nothing like it was on Tuesday night, sorry. But that's it, people. Thank you for tuning in. Do give the video a like, share and subscribe if you're watching for the first time. I will see you all on Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let's hope the red side of Manchester is cheering this weekend. See you soon. Bye-bye.